I know. I'm just as surprised as anybody. I thought for the longest time that this was my favorite game of all time. I even said as much on numerous occasions. But as I sat down and really started to hash this list out, I came to the realization that might not be the case. I think? Maybe? Look. I've been going back and forth on this game's position for a while now, even in the middle of producing these videos. We're at the point in this list where organizing these games into which ones I like more is not only next to impossible, but it almost feels pointless. This far up in a list this personal, all you're going to find is 3 games that I love equally as much for completely different reasons. And in the case of Dark Cloud 2, that reason is how utterly complete the game is. There is so much to Dark Cloud 2, so much to do and so much to experience that it makes me wonder how other games can even pretend to have depth and complexity. A playthrough of this game will run you over 100 hours, and right up until the final boss and even into the post-game, I was still being surprised and still working towards some new personal goal that I had not yet accomplished. This game was years ahead of its time in terms of ambition, and the crazy thing is, none of its cool ideas and game-changing mechanics feel half-baked. Every single thing the devs set out to do not only works, but excels. Take the weapon synthesis mechanic. Your characters don't level up in this game, their weapons do, and every time your weapon levels up, you get something called synthesis points. Synthesize with what, you may ask? And the answer is, just about anything you want. Every single item in the game not necessary to story progression can be broken down into its essence and fused into your weapons to boost their stats. And once you get enough stats in certain categories, your weapon can morph into a bigger and better form with even better numbers, more potential for faster growth, and sometimes even new properties. The dinky little battle wrench you start the game with may very well be the same weapon you wield into the final chapter, and that makes it so incredibly satisfying to me, because you weren't given this weapon. You didn't pick it off some uber boss's corpse or get it for completing a meaningless side quest for somebody you'd barely even known up to that point. No, you earned this. This thing has become just as much of a character to you as any of the people, and after so much time and energy, it's finally become something legendary. Don't worry about feeling the grind when it comes to this either. Even if you decide to hang back and stockpile experience for a bit, the layout of the various dungeons is never set in stone. They're made from tiles, much like The Binding of Isaac or Enter the Gungeon. And much like those games, Dark Cloud 2 can be surprisingly unforgiving at times. You can make a few mistakes, but not many. Enemies hit so hard, and it will take you so long to get defense and maximum health boosts that learning the tells and patterns of the monsters you encounter becomes an absolute must. I'm not even being sarcastic. I think my early exposure to this game is why I did so well in Dark Souls. It taught me to be patient, to be observant, to hang back and consider all my options, to press every advantage I could get and wait for just the right moment to fight back. Nothing feels more gratifying than when you start winning this game. Because as corny as it sounds, you end up evolving at the same rate your gear does. You start hitting harder and learning how to hit more consistently at around the same time, and even at that point, there's still more ways you can push yourself. Every room in every dungeon comes preloaded with special challenges that ask you to do things like beat the whole floor without healing, or only damage and kill enemies with Monica's sword, that kind of thing. There are even rooms that have a seal on them the first time you enter, meaning you can only use one of your 2 characters, so you can never get comfortable. You can't ignore the other person. This is a journey for them both, and you're going to have to play around with, upgrade, and master each of their playstyles to succeed. You're encouraged to experiment in that sense. Maybe you buy another base weapon and take it down a totally different upgrade path. And then you discover that this new weapon handles completely differently and has its own combos and feel, and suddenly, all that time you spent becomes worth it. Or you can just summon a robot, whatever you feel like. Oh, and did I mention this game has time travel? The reason you're going through these monster-infested labyrinths to begin with is because you're up against a villain that's been erasing key figures from the future by messing with the present. You have to undo the damage he did by collecting items known as geostones and using the power contained within them to rebuild what's been lost. That includes building houses, recruiting wayward souls from your hometown to move into said houses, and building a veritable town with enough culture to attract trade and residency for years to come. Your eyes do not deceive you. We are now playing Level 5's take on Sim City. So to recap, you go into dungeons where your weapon naturally evolves as you fight. As you get stronger, you collect stones that allow you to customize an entire landscape to your liking, which in turn, when done right, unlocks powerful new items in the future, as well as story-specific events and a narrative that will hit you right in the heart with its twists, turns, and reveals, which just motivate you to go into even more dungeons to see how this all plays out. And that still isn't everything this game does that's amazing. I can't even scratch the surface of this game in the time I have to tell you about it in this video. Not if you actually want it released on the 23rd. Like, let's just go down the checklist of major things this game lets you do. You get to wield swords, hammers, guns, and magic, all of which can be built up and enhanced however you like. You can pilot your own customizable battle bot, recruit dozens of different characters to your team Suikoden style, invent new items that you can craft whenever you like, turn into a monster that slowly evolves into an even bigger and badder monster, play interdimensional golf, complete bonus objectives in areas you've already cleared for medals that can be traded in for alternate costumes, travel through time, build entire villages to your liking, go fishing, and then race the fish you caught against other people's fish for cash and prizes. My God, what else could you possibly want? That's why Dark Cloud 2 is so much fun, to not just pick up and play, but also continue playing. It keeps hitting you with cool new mechanic after cool new mechanic. No joke, today's episode almost didn't happen because I was having trouble putting the game down long enough to write a script. It was so easy to tell myself, just one more thing, I'll get one more level for my sword so I can evolve it, and then I'm done. Ooh, actually, let me turn in those geostones I got while doing this and see what I unlock for the building mode. Oh yes! More unlock conditions! Let me just put those into place, go into the future, reap the rewards, and... Wait, what time is it? Oh snap, it's 5 p.m. Words! I am stunned, just floored that more people have not played this game, that I don't hear more people hailing this as one of the greatest games of all time. For the time it came out in, on the platform it was on, and the hardware it had to work with, this is a marvel. This is a standard that we can hold even modern games to. It's so feature complete that even if the rumors of a Dark Cloud 3 are untrue, I think I'd still walk away just as satisfied and happy as I would be even with it. That's how good this game is. Go play this right now.